All right, my friends, I'm going to share with you a sneaky little secret of the investment world and industry and how it can, once you know this secret, how it'll save you buku bucks. All right, so I had a question from a lady who I consider a friend, and she said, Josh, I heed your advice on the bonds, so I'm going to move. We did a financial plan. She's going to move the bonds that she was paying in a financial advisor or registered investment advisor. She's going to move those bonds to CDs in order to save her fee, which only makes sense without question. Now, if you're going to pay a fee, and I don't think you should, but if you're going to, paying a fee for stock management is different than paying a fee for bond management for many reasons, and I'll probably get some here today. But anyway, so the secret is, so she's like, how do I say this? I mean, it's kind of weird, right? I'm telling them just to manage my stocks, but I'm going to take care of my bonds and put in CDs. How do I say this? How do I have this discussion? Actually, she feels pretty confident that the guy or the team that she's hired has done well by her. And I look, hey, if you're comfortable with that, I got no qualm with that at all. They won't do well by you in bonds. It's just because the bonds are too expensive for the fees they're charging relative to the yields you're getting. This really is not debatable. Anyway, so the issue here that comes down to be, when I was looking at oh man, beautiful little Cardinal. Is there anything beautiful than a Cardinal? Oh man, we got some Blue Jays and Cardinals, just gorgeous. I think I say that every time I'm driving down the spring, don't I? All right, so anyway, all right, so here's the situation. I was interviewing RIAs, registered investment advisory firms, when I quit my crappy old job at USAA. And I came across one, and RIAs are fiduciaries. They want you to know they're fiduciaries, that they have your best interests at heart, bar none. They are fiduciaries, unlike these commission-based salesmen who are not fiduciaries, blah, blah, blah. Folks, if you let that, I'm telling you, I get on the YouTube channel a lot, like, they're fiduciaries. Hire a fiduciary, hire a CFP, as if that means diddly squat. I'm telling you, it does not. Do not get sucked into this idea of fiduciary means they have your best interests at heart. I'm just telling you right now, don't, because I've seen it. I can't. A guy I know up in North Virginia just texted me late last night about a fiduciary portfolio that he came across. That was just a freaking it was an S-bird sandwich. Let's put it that way, as we used to say in the Army. And this is a family-friendly show, so I'm trying to keep my cussing down. Anyway, all right. So a fiduciary. So I'm talking to this lady who ran this RIA, and at USAA, we had this thing called the Flexible Retirement Annuity, FRAN, which is the best thing since sliced bread for the fixed income portion of your portfolio. I promise I'll do a video on this. I keep saying, I keep forgetting, but I will do a video on the FRAN because it's freaking awesome. And it's by far it smokes the bonds, without question. And she immediately shut me down and said, no, we don't do any annuities here. I said, you don't understand. This is not your typical annuity. This is 10 times better than your annuity. She goes, no, we think bonds are the way to go. And I said, lady, you don't know what you're talking about. I mean, I say this because I was trying to get a job, but I was like, man, the fact that you won't hear this tells me that you're not open-minded about alternatives that are out there. And but here's the reason why she wasn't open-minded for it. Simple, because she doesn't get paid on annuities, because they are a RIA, a registered investment advisory firm, which means they solely get paid on assets under management. Sorry about the camera here. There we go. So she does not get paid for money that's outside her management, and she doesn't manage annuities, so she doesn't get paid. So her issue is she'd rather charge you 1% on bonds, and they're all going to bond ETFs and mutual funds too, by the way, not individual bonds. And then with all the risks that are thereof in bonds, as opposed to going into a fixed annuity at USAA, which has a guaranteed bottom, which also has a similar interest rate than what she's getting on her bonds, except for the fact that the annuity has no fees. And her bonds have risk, because they could certainly go down in value. They got internal investment expenses in that she's hiring a money manager to manage these bonds, and they're paying a similar rate, yield as the annuity at USAA. But then you factor in fees, it's a no-brainer. The annuity is 10 times better, but it's not even debatable. But she didn't want to hear it, and the reason was because she wasn't getting paid on that. And look, I get it, but she's a fiduciary, and yet she's holding herself as a fiduciary. And I said, wait a second here. Now, this is where I started to, I guess I swallowed the red pill at that point. I said, oh, all these RIAs aren't nearly as cracked up as they think they're being. And now, as I've done research further into that, I've realized it's all just it's smoke and mirrors, man. It's smoke and mirrors. Commission people are bad. The RIAs are better. That's what's happening now today in this market industry. It's like, oh, I'm a fiduciary. You should trust me because I'm a fiduciary. No. All right, so what it comes down to, if you have bonds, you're getting at most 3.5%. Now, I'm telling you, I know my man Alberto, he bought some old California bonds at like 5.5% yield. I get that, man. Those you can sneak into buying good bonds, but you're not buying them today. The market is just not happening. So the only way you're buying bonds of any significance with any kind of good coupons, you're paying such a huge premium that it's not the current yields can be just, I mean, I'm just telling you, this basic mathematics. If you're getting a 5% coupon, you're paying a huge premium for those bonds, about 120 on a par value of 100, which means your current yield is right back to market rates. I mean, this is how this works. It's mathematical. There's no, there's just no issue about this at all. Could you have bought a California bond in 2009 and got a 5.5% coupon? Yes, because there's no market for that stuff. That's not today. It's just not. So I know there are people out there who've got wonderful bonds. I'd never tell them to sell it. But notice, these are individual bonds they own. They're not bond funds and they're not bond ETFs. They're individual bonds. The only way you pay somebody to buy your bonds is if they're going to have individual bonds and they're going to charge you a commission. The commission is baked into the bid versus ask price that the bond guy is going to sell it to you. Like, that's why you go to Ed Jones to buy you a bond. He will buy you a bond. He'll look at the credit rating. He's just going to go off what the Bloomberg terminal says. He doesn't know any better than you, but at least he has access to the Bloomberg for the credit ratings and whatnot. And they'll put a price. It might even be in their inventory. A lot of people say, oh, they're just selling you their junk. No, buying an inventory bond is fine. That just means Ed Jones had to supply of bonds that they sell to the customers. Nothing inherently wrong with that at all. And they'll keep their credit ratings on that, and they'll know if it's junk, and there's just nothing wrong with that. But they're going to get a commission on it. That's how it works. Whoop-de-flip-and-do. You pay one-time commission, and then the bond sits there until maturity or it goes bankrupt, or until you need to sell it. That's the way to do it. So if your guy is not buying individual bonds for you, you need to fire him right now and move your money to CDs, because CDs pay the equivalent of a little bit more than a 10-year treasury right now, and there's no risk to CDs in terms of volatility, none whatsoever. So it makes no sense to hold funds of bonds in your portfolio, paying an investment management fee on top of that, paying the fund fees, the expense ratio of the ETF of the mutual fund. It doesn't make sense. Don't do that. When you can go buy a CD with a similar, a similar yield before fees, and then your after fee yield is much better because the CDs have no fee on it. So if I get 3% CD and a 3% bond, and I'm paying 1% to the guy to manage my bonds, and on top of that, the money, the funds that he's put me in has a, well, say 25 basis points fee. I'm getting 1.75, but I'm still getting the 3% CD. And by the way, the CD is maturing in 2 to 3 years. Now, but it's a mutual fund. It can mature. You can take your money out anytime. Yeah, you can, but if you take it out the wrong time, it's going to be down in value. The CD won't be down in value unless you surrender it too soon. But you know that going in. So that's how you say it. Say, look, I'm not comfortable in the bond market. Oh man, someone just snaked me on my gas thing. Yeah, did he? Is he trying to snake me here, this guy? Hold on just a second. Maybe not. I can't tell what he's doing. All right, so you say, I'm not comfortable in the bond market. I don't see value there. The CDs are less risky and they pay me the same. That's what you say. So I'm going to go put my money into CDs. It's less risky and it pays me the same yield as bonds do. And on top of that, I don't have to pay the fee. That's how you say it. Just front and center and just be done with it. If the guy argues you, just say, I don't want to pay a fee on an interest rate where I can get a similar rate return that's actually safer, a short-term term in terms of the CDs versus a 10-year bond. It doesn't make sense to do that. Anyway, I hope this helps. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Definitely put questions in there. I'm at the gas station, so I can get some gas because people are looking at me. We'll see you next time.